before. Can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear it. I've switched from using the microphone on the phone itself to using the Bluetooth earpiece. I need a confirmation from folks that they can actually hear me. Can you hear me? Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Can somebody give me a heads up on that? The chat will be a few seconds behind, but let's see if we can't get a confirmation from one of our viewers before we continue. Don't want to be sitting here talking and you can't hear anything. I'm seeing no chat coming in. Arc Precision is there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Well, nobody's saying they can't hear me. 100% fine. Thank you. Well, 100% live doesn't mean I'm 100% fine with audio. Can you hear me, Dylan? That's what I need the confirmation of. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Apparently some announcement. 5x5. Thank you, Arc Precision. We can hear you. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the program. Good afternoon here on the East Coast of the United States. Good morning on the West Coast and out in Hawaii. It's a pleasure to have you back again. Ladies and gentlemen, the political left have got their titties in a twist. They've got their titties all in a twist. Ooh, pinching those nipples. They are really, really upset about Donald Trump getting a platform to speak freely without being attacked by leftist black journalists who set him up for asinine questions like, well, what do you say about the ethnicity of Kamala Harris? Do you think she's black or do you think she's Asian? Not being set up and having just a regular conversation. It was absolutely brilliant. So, my prepared comments for this broadcast, I'm going to put on these sunglasses so I can see a little bit better. I'm not Roy Orbison, just trying to read a little bit better. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my opening commentary, and I've prepared it so it's not simply off the cuff since I'm sitting outside here. All right, so let me just get to, there you go. Got it. Okay, make sure I get all the pages here of my prepared commentary. So this is my opening monologue. The political left all over the world seem to have gotten their titties in a twist over Donald Trump's appearance with Elon Musk on Twitter long before Trump even uttered a word. Their Trump derangement syndrome appears to be reaching fever pitch. For example, the Washington Post reporter, and I use that term loosely, Cleve Wootson, issued an Orwellian call for censorship during a press conference on Monday afternoon with, of course, the chief propagandist of the regime, Karine Jean-Pierre. Elon Musk is slated to interview Trump tonight on X, he said. I don't know if the president is going to feel free to say if he is or is not, but I think that misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue, it's a, America issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that or stopping the spread of that or sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation, but it's a wider thing, he added. Now, here's the thing. Trump had not uttered a word, and this so-called reporter for the Washington Compost is actually asking the executive branch to violate the First Amendment of the Constitution to silence an American speaking. And not only just an American, folks, but an opponent of the regime. An opponent, a political opponent. They want to silence a political opponent of the regime. That's what's going on here. This is beyond belief that a reporter for the Washington Compost would engage in an effort to cajole the administration into silencing their opponents. This is beyond belief, folks. This is the world we live in now. And it goes much deeper than this. This is before Trump ever even spoke. He's trying to silence him. And he's making a claim that Trump spread misinformation. Well, there's no such thing as misinformation unless you're the government misleading people. But Trump hadn't spoken. How could he spread misinformation? Now, of course, the chief propagandist of the White House, Karine Jean-Pierre, eagerly went along with this so-called reporter's Orwellian fascist inquiry. She said, you've heard us talk about this many times from here about the responsibilities that social media platforms have when it comes to misinformation, disinformation. I don't have anything to read out from here about specific ways that we're working on it, but we believe that they have a responsibility. These are private companies, so we're also mindful of that too. But look, it is. I think it's incredibly important to call that out as you're doing. I just don't have any specifics on what you've been doing internally as it relates to what we've been doing internally as it relates to interviews. It's not something I'm tracking, and I'm sure the press is not tracking it either. So she says social media companies have a responsibility. They have a responsibility when it comes to misinformation. Do the Washington Post not have? Does the Washington Post not have a responsibility on misinformation? Do they not also have responsibility? I mean, that's unbelievable. It's actually a media outlet, the Washington Post, and they're spreading disinformation, misinformation, lying about President Trump's appearance on Twitter hours before it even occurred. hours before it even occurred. And yet she goes along with it and she says it. It's unbelievable. So, can you all still hear me? Just let me know, because I took that out of my ear. It was hard for me to focus with that in my ear. How's it going?
Hi.
Yeah, so if you can still hear me, give me a heads up, give me a 5-by. It is sad that we live in a time where the people must fight the press, or any press. It's a huge no-no. It is, in fact. I agree with Arc Precision. Anyway, let me continue on here. I assume you can still hear me 100%. Okay, good. So, this is what EU censorship czar had to say in trying to silence Donald Trump. Now, the fascist douchebag European Commissioner Thierry Breton from Paris sent a threatening letter to Elon Musk demanding that he censor any so-called misinformation that came up during Trump interview. Now, bear in mind that that is a threatening letter threatening Twitter, X, before Trump even spoke. And this is what the fascist douchebag commissar from the European Union had to say. Listen to this. This is Orwellian. We are monitoring the potential risk in the European Union associated with the dissemination of content that may incite violence, hate, and racism in conjunction with major political or societal events around the world, including debates and interviews in the context of elections. Now, what the fuck does the European Union have to do with U.S. elections? We have not surrendered any degree of sovereignty to your douchebag cafe clutch in Brussels. We have not surrendered any degree of our sovereignty to your douchebag cafe clutch in Brussels. Shut up, Thierry Breton. But he continues. I therefore urge you to promptly ensure the effectiveness of your systems and to report measures taken to my team. Excuse me? No obligation to report anything to the douchebags in Brussels. He says, my services and I will be extremely vigilant to any evidence that points to any breaches of the DSA and will not hesitate to make full use of our toolbox, including by adopting interim measures should it be warranted to protect EU citizens from serious harm. Now, this is what the EU censorship douchebag Thierry Breton had to say in a threatening letter sent to the CEO of Twitter, Elon Musk. Well, he's not really CEO, the owner of Twitter, Elon Musk. Now, first off, the letter is inappropriate sending to Elon Musk. It should be sent to the Chief Executive Officer, Linda Yaccararo. That's what you go to, not to Musk. This is pure and simple election interference by corrupt European fascist totalitarian commissars in U.S. elections. This is what's going on. This isn't a reaction to something Trump said. This is a preemptory strike to silence political speech in the United States, to interfere with our elections. This is what the European Union is doing. It's time to stop supporting them. You know what? These countries that pull this crap, they don't deserve the umbrella of protection from NATO anymore. Trump said never said pull out of NATO, and I'm not saying either. But scumbag countries like this don't deserve our protection, especially when they don't meet their thresholds. Yes, Cape Town broke the record since 1956. Now, in response to this is what the Trump campaign had to say to the European douchebag commissar fascist totalitarian comments. The Trump campaign, this is by Stephen Chung. The European Union should mind their own business instead of trying to meddle in the U.S. presidential election. Only in Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's America can an undemocratic foreign organization feel emboldened enough to tell this country what to do. They know that a President Trump victory means America will no longer be ripped off because he will smartly utilize tariffs and renegotiate trade deals that puts America first. Let us be very clear. The European Union is an enemy of free speech and has no authority of any kind to dictate how we campaign. Stephen Chung. Spot on, 100%. Who does the European Union think they are? This is insane. Now, this is the Twitter or X response to European censorship threats, and also something from Senator Mike Lee. But first, from Linda Yaccarino, the CEO, the actual CEO of X. This is an unprecedented attempt to stretch a law intended to apply in Europe to political activities in the U.S. It also patronizes European citizens, suggesting they're incapable of listening to a conversation and drawing their own conclusions. 100%. Now, I don't like her. She's some kind of leftist center, but she's correct there. Now, Senator Mike Lee, Republican of Utah, said the following on Twitter. This conversation couldn't occur on a mainstream news network. That's why progressive Democrats work so hard to shut down Twitter, even resorting to inciting European regulators to threaten Elon Musk. That's 100%, folks. Bear in mind what I just said. Now, if the United States, all right, if the United States government had sent a letter to Take-A-Lot, telling Take-A-Lot that you're selling products that we believe are inappropriate for children, you should stop it. That's what this is. The United States has no authority over the actions of Takealot in South Africa. It's a South African incorporated business doing business in South Africa. Our sovereignty does not extend to there. If we were to threaten Takealot with sanctions, we wouldn't supply goods to South Africa. If Takealot would not stop selling, I don't know, demonic, satanic kits to children in South Africa, it's the same thing that the European Union is doing here, threatening an American company interfering in a U.S. election. Or let's make it even clearer. Any company that was making election material for the African National Congress, if there was a company in South Africa making posters for the ANC for their election, and the United States Department of Commerce threatened sanctions against South Africa if they published ANC posters because they believe the ANC is being racist, who are we to interfere in South Africa's elections? Who is the European Union to interfere in our elections? Diane says her problem was with timestamps. Watching, I had timestamps, now I can comment the stream. Okay, well, maybe it's as simple as that. Sorry. Who is the European Union to pull this crap? This is unbelievable. Now, we go beyond this. The Harris campaign had a response, and this one's comical. Now, the Harris campaign is not asked to appear on Twitter with Elon Musk. They have not accepted his invitation, but this is what they had to say. Donald Trump's extremism and dangerous Project 2025 agenda is a feature, not a glitch, of his campaign, which was on full display for those unlucky enough to listen tonight during whatever that was on X.com. First off, that is just juvenile, asinine, and just petty. And number two, Project 25 has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It's the Heritage Foundation, and they continually there's nothing wrong with Project 25, other than the fact that it's boring and excessively long. But that's nothing to do with Trump. This is nothing but a packet of lies. These people are unbelievable. Now they continue. They said Trump's entire campaign is in service of people like Elon Musk and himself, self-obsessed rich guys who will sell out the middle class and who cannot run a live stream in the year of 2024. Seriously? Self-obsessed rich guys? What do you think Joe Biden is? What do you think Kamala Harris is? Self-obsessed rich person who's got tons of money she never earned. Who do you think supports her? Self-obsessed rich people. These are crybabies. These are crybabies. The Kamala Harris campaign is a crybaby campaign. That's what they are. Now, they make this dig at him saying that he can't run a live stream. Well, the cannot run a live stream accusation was designed to mock Elon Musk because his interview with Trump started about an hour late due to technical difficulties. Well, those technical difficulties, as we've now found out, are the result of a concerted effort by a coordinated cyber attack by leftist brown shirt goons who tried to shut it down. So, of course, they can't run this because they're being attacked by the leftists. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So there you have it, folks. The political left has their titties in a twist. Oh, Donald Trump got to speak. He was on X. Oh, it's so terrible. Oh, he said evil things. Project 25. Yep, all lies. That's the crybaby campaign of Kamala and little Timmy Waltz. Okay, folks. So, here's an interesting editorial in the Washington Times from yesterday. I'm going to read this editorial from the Washington Times yesterday. This is pretty good. Now, this, of course, is what happened with Hillary Clinton. The statute of limitations expired before the prosecutor. Notice a demonic effort by the Department of Injustice to go after January 6 offenders because January 6 offenders, the statute of limitations will run out on these misdemeanors. Of course, they're turning them illegitimately into felonies just, because they can. But let's talk about this. This is in the Washington Post, or Washington Times, yesterday. This is their op-ed from the editorial board. Washington Times editorial board, August 12th, 2024. Now that Mr. Biden is a lame duck and the presidential torch has been passed via the Democratic Zoom call, that's pretty good, to Kamala Harris, the Justice Department felt free to come clean. Well, almost. In papers filed with a federal court last week, special counsel David Weiss informed the judge that he will explain how Hunter Biden collected $1 million in cash from a wealthy Romanian businessman, Gabriel Popoviciu, who wanted U.S. officials to strong-arm Romanian regulators into dropping a criminal probe. The government will introduce the evidence described above, including that Hunter Biden and business associate 1 received compensation, that's Joe Biden, business associate 1 received compensation from a foreign principal who was attempting to influence U.S. policy and public opinion and caused the United States to investigate the Romanian investigation of GP in Romania. Now, all this took place while the elder Mr. Biden was vice president, which meant that Hunter was concerned that lobbying work might cause political ramifications for his father, according to Mr. Weiss. So, the first son and his associates allegedly set up shell companies to make it look like they're providing legitimate real estate management services in Romania. Now, the evidence will show the defendant performed almost no work in exchange for the millions of dollars he received from these entities, Mr. Weiss wrote. What the oligarchs actually received was access to the Vice President of the United States and influence on our foreign policy. Now, isn't this shocking news? Had this information been made publicly available in 2020 when it was covered up by the Department of Justice, who were working for Donald Trump at the time, imagine what would have happened. Disguising corrupt foreign transactions is money laundering, and covertly influencing U.S. foreign policy on behalf of foreign nationals is a serious felony. But the Department of Justice won't be charging the Bidens for any of this nefarious conduct. Mr. Weiss intentionally drug his feet on this investigation so that the statute of limitations on the allegations would expire. The younger Biden will only face potential slap on the wrist for failing to pay taxes on his illicit gains. Now, this is what's known in the business as a limited hangout. The Romanian improprieties are nothing compared to Hunter's deals in the Ukraine and China. The latter involving, in Hunter's own words, his work for the blank spy chief of China. The effing spy chief. So Hunter Biden is dead to rights guilty of selling influence. Quid pro quo. The Bidens sold the United States down the river to Romania, to China, to Ukraine. They sold our foreign policy. And what happens? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. The Department of Justice intentionally allows the statute of limitations to expire on the most serious and egregious of the crimes in Ukraine and China so that we can't prosecute this scumbag. Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not real. This is, I mean, I can't make this stuff up. Erica's not getting notifications. Unsubscribe and resubscribe, Erica. Hey, Clive, how's it going? He's a baby and crying because she has support. Exactly, Dylan. Okay, so it looks like Diane fixed that. Lefties did go crazy. I said so in Times Live. Yeah, I didn't see that, Grant. Apparently Cape Town has broke the records. Yeah, it's true. World is a sick place. Who decides what is actually misinformation? We are a human race. Exactly. If you can't make a decision for yourself, then that's your shortcoming. That's not the responsibility of the government. Good evening, everyone from PE. Why are you outside? Have you lost your home? Yes, Robert Rankin. I've been dispossessed of my home. This morning, the black helicopters came at about 5:30. I just managed to escape. My car was parked down the street in the event that the government agents would come for me. I slipped out of the back of my house. It's at this hour being ransacked by the political commissars and the agents from the GRU, the FBI. I have been kicked out of my home. I've sought asylum at the Vatican Embassy in Washington, D.C. That's where I'm sitting at, the Vatican Embassy in the District of Columbia. I've sought asylum here. I've asked for refuge from the Argentinian Pope. My initial indication is it will be returned down because I'm outspoken against His Highness, the Argentinian fraud. So I don't know if the Federal Bureau of Incompetence and the black helicopters will be descending on me later today, but for now, I'm broadcasting from outside in the District of Columbia. No, none of that's true. None of that's true. Yep, none of that's true. Anyway, welcome back, guys. He can't be trial because his mind is gone. Yeah, exactly. Same tree as yesterday. That's right, Dylan. Well, some of these folks weren't here yesterday. It's not he, she, them, or it that you belong to. Hey, James Douglas. Work be tough. Okay. Haven't fixed anything. It just seems to have something to do with the timestamps. It makes no sense to me. Yeah, that is strange, Diane. So anyway, yeah, but it's YouTube. What do you expect, guys? All right. So listen, this is unbelievable. They lose their mind because Donald Trump got to speak on X. They didn't have to listen to it. I couldn't listen to it. It was sabotaged by a denial of service attack, which prevented people from getting on there. But in the end, I don't know the true number. Somebody said it was 7.9 million. We're listening at one stage in this 2-hour conversation. Look, I don't really get the X thing and the conversations. I don't like not being able to see faces when people are talking. If I want to be in a teleconference, I'd be in a teleconference. But that's so 1985, not 2024. So Twitter needs to go to video teleconferencing, a la Zoom, and then I'll be interested in it. But I didn't want to listen to Donald Trump on a telephone call last night. I don't need that. So, but I did try to get in, and it just didn't work out. What's a moth over here or something? It just didn't work because of the denial of service attack. So anyway, but the petty, childish, juvenile, whiny, crybaby behavior of the Harris campaign is pathetic. All right, folks, going to talk, we'll come back to this story later in the conversation because the audience has been growing. Be sure to hit that like button, folks. Just smash the like button. Otherwise, I'll have to put on these glasses. Looks like I've got vision impairment. Doesn't these glasses look like these sunglasses look like I have vision impairment? I can't see anything now. Actually, they're yellow, so I can see really well out here. It's beautiful out here. But let's switch up the story. I'm going to talk about energy now. And first to Stephen Moore. This is it's a condensed portion of an op-ed from him. Then a couple news stories about things. First, I'm going to talk about natural gas. Of course, I've been pushing natural gas for a long time. In interest of full disclosure, I have no investments in natural gas other than British Petroleum, which invests in gas. But that's not their primary business. Primary business is petroleum exploration. But I have no investments in natural gas, but it is a clean burning so-called green fuel, which is no longer considered green because they've lost their minds and making false claims about hydrocarbons. But it is among the cleanest forms of energy out there. It is abundant and it is inexpensive. It's reached not a record low, but an incredibly low price here recently. It's cheaper than buying Evian water in the grocery store. Yep, that's true. Buying a cubic meter of natural gas. Anyway, so let me read this. This is a condensed version of his op-ed. Then I'm going to talk about the 4th generation nuclear reactor that is now being built in Tennessee. It's about damn time. We've been stalling by the fanatical green leftists have been stopping nuclear energy advancement in this country for over 3 decades, and we are far behind now. We have the technology. It's been developed by industry and by engineers and by scientists, but we've not fielded it. As I've said over and over again, small modular nuclear reactors are the answer for the future if you want to reduce carbon output and you want to make electricity affordable, and you can secure these things so they're not targets for terrorists. Anyway, so this is from Stephen Moore. And he said, despite hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars thrown at wind and solar power, we still get less than 10% of our energy from green sources. Now, they're not really green sources. I've talked about this endlessly, about the whole life cycle of solar photovoltaic panels, solar thermal, and also wind turbines, and how much carbon is produced, how much pollution is produced, how much waste is produced. When you take the life cycle, it's far worse than even petroleum. But that's not what the green energy clowns want you to know or believe. So, he says the needle really hasn't moved at all over the past 2 decades. The more the government spends, the less we get per taxpayer dollar thrown at it. That's the very definition of a falling stock, 100%. The real energy transition is towards natural gas. A few weeks ago, the price of natural gas fell below $2 per metric BTU, the lowest price for energy after adjusting for inflation in 20 years and probably ever in the history of mankind. Just a few years ago, the price in real dollars was 4 times higher. Meanwhile, natural gas has all the attributes of a wonder fuel. It is abundant, made in America, clean burning, using natural gas reduces carbon emissions, reliable and cheap. The United States has at least, there's a car, it's noisy. The United States has at least 200 years worth of natural gas supply, and probably far more than that, because natural gas is continually being produced by the earth. We aren't running out. Chris Wyatt, CEO of Liberty Energy in Denver and one of the leading experts on drilling technology, says we keep finding more natural gas as the drilling technologies get better. Horizontal drilling, fracking, all these different things. Deep shale. Environmentalists should be celebrating the natural gas revolution. It is by far the largest reason that carbon dioxide emissions have fallen dramatically in the United States and that our air is cleaner today than any time in a century. At the same time, we are finding that windmills and solar panels are far from the clean energy that we hoped they would be. Well, I've always told you they're not clean energy. We now have graveyards full of retired toxic plastic, steel, and wind turbines that have to be buried in massive landfills or dumped in the ocean. Windmills use 4,000 times more plastic than all the plastic straws in the world. Are you listening to San Francisco, the city that banned plastic straws in their virtue signaling when I was there for the Sevens World Cup in 2017? Good Lord, people running their cars over making noise. Windmills use 4,000 times more plastic than all the plastic straws in the world. Yet we ban plastic straws, which are necessary and safe and hygienic for single uses in nursing homes and care facilities and hospitals, but they're being banned all over the world. Now, much of the natural gas resources in the U.S. are under federal lands. President Biden and Vice President Harris have stopped the leasing permits that are needed to find massive basins of oil and gas. Given that we have some $50 trillion of oil, gas, and minerals in the mountains of the western states alone, Unleashed Prosperity estimates U.S. government would rake in over $1 trillion in revenue from leases and other taxes by drilling and mining companies for these resources. So why is the climate change industrial complex against natural gas when it is the long-term solution, combined with nuclear power, to all the globe's energy needs? Instead, they've waged a war against natural gas, calling it a polluting energy source when it's not. Apparently because natural gas is too cheap and too abundant. Why use natural gas when you use expensive, completely unreliable wind power? The left is morbidly afraid of gas because they bet on the wrong horse and foolishly invested hundreds of billions of dollars of their own and taxpayer money into these unproductive technologies. The only thing holding back our boundless natural gas future is government. We need permits for more liquefied natural gas terminals, leases for drilling and pipelines so we can transport our natural gas resources to every region of the country and export it across the world. Former President Trump is all for this. Harris is on the record as being against fracking and wanting to ban it. Can you think of anything dumber? I can't. It's absolute nonsense what's going on here. Natural gas is a clean burning technology. Virtually no pollution comes from it. Yes, there's pollution in the mining and recovery and distribution of it, but it is marginal when you compare it to the waste and the carbon dioxide output from making solar photovoltaic panels, from making wind turbines, using rare earth elements, destroying entire natural environments to dig up rare earth elements in a few ounces out of tons and tons of material to make turbines and blades. It is absolutely batshit crazy what the left has come up with. It makes no sense whatsoever. So, there you have it, folks. That's what's going on with that. So, natural gas. There's a story for you there. Now, here's one more energy story for you. This was an interesting and an encouraging one. Let's talk about this. The Kairos Power has started construction of the Hermes low-power demonstration reactor. This is the U.S.'s first fourth-generation nuclear reactor in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Hermes is the first and only fourth-generation reactor to be approved for construction by the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Hermes will use a TRISO fuel pebble bed design with molten fluoride salt coolant to demonstrate affordable clean heat production. According to Kairos Power, it is the first non-light water reactor to be permitted in the U.S. in over 50 years and is projected to be operational already in 2027, just 3 years from now, which is insane. Nuclear power plants take far longer than that to design, approve, and then even build. So in 3 years, this one will be up. The U.S. Department of Energy will subsidize this project to the tune of $303 million for the design, the construction, and commissioning of Hermes through its Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program. Now, rather than water as used in conventional nuclear reactors, the Kairos Power Reactor uses molten fluoride salt as a coolant. Molten fluoride salts have excellent chemical stability and tremendous capacity for transferring heat at high temperature and retaining fission products that might be released from fuel. Moreover, the Kairos Power Reactors use fully ceramic fuel, which maintains structural integrity even at extremely high temperatures. This fuel will be undamaged to well above the melting temperatures of conventional metallic reactor fuels. The company also says that its reactors have passive safety features, which means they do not require electricity to remove heat from the core after shutting down. The reactors have uniquely large safety margins based on the selected combination of fuel and coolant, which allows emergency cooling to be driven by fundamental physics rather than engineered systems. According to the data provided by the Kairos Power, the KPFHR reactor is fully capable of producing 140 megawatt output and has a net efficiency of 45%, which, if true, tops the internal combustion engine, which is at about 38 to 42%. So there you go, folks. There you have it. The left has their titties in a twist, and they hate clean and abundant natural gas. They hate abundant, effective, and useful nuclear power. And they just hate Homo sapiens. They want us all to live in caves and eat feces. Who else is here? So excuse me when I get rid of my natural gas, says Malcolm. Yes, natural gas can be made from landfills. It comes from landfills, yep. There may be an oil find in the area of Orange Basin is massive. Yes, it is. It is, Garrett. I'm well aware of that. I've covered that story. Okay, Erica says, please smash the like button. The Brits had so many mummies in museums, they used them to fuel steam engines. Really? I didn't know that. That's crazy. Don't forget about the London Met police chief who promised to go after Elon Musk, even though he's an American. He's not just Elon Musk. Martin Martz. He promised to go after all of us, including me, for retweeting or posting something that they find offensive. Well, you know, they find everything offensive. So we're all criminals. The UK Met, they're a bunch of deuce. Ooh, that'll get you put in jail for calling them idiots. They use balsa trees for blades. Love the visionary plans to dam off the Orange River. Makes huge sense. Okay. Viva South Africa. I'm radicalized for the safety of this great nation. Salute to all patriots, says LL Entertainment. Biz News interview with Chris Pappas today was very interesting. Okay, well, I got to get Chris Pappas back on. Still believe water from a dam isn't tapped for hydro properly. The weight could turn massive geared. Okay, Sedgeville. By the way, Starbucks fired their CEO today. Their Indian CEO is out, and the dude that's running Chipotle is in. Let's just, all right. Ramon Cabanach just posted something on Twitter, so I'm a bit surprised to see that. I haven't seen him do any social media stuff of late. But yeah, so Starbucks fired the CEO, and the stock jumped 19% in early trading this morning. Whoa! By the way, interest full disclosure, I have some shares of Starbucks. I'm loving that. It's like McDonald's. I'm loving it, man. Bring it on. And so they got rid of their CEO, who's languished for years. It's the fourth Starbucks CEO in 2 years. And they're bringing this guy in from Chipotle. He used to be the CEO of Taco Bell, and he's been in the industry for decades, so it could be the answer. My mind's gone blank. Couldn't think of any famous black person catching up with me. Huh? And not, age is catching up with you. No famous black person? Martin Luther King? There's one. Sol Plaatje, although Plaatje's probably considered colored. Steve Biko? Nelson Mandela? Just a few. Marcus Garvey? Sing any Stevie Wonder songs, yeah. Oh, with the glasses, yeah. Oh, you couldn't think of Stevie Wonder. That's what that was all about. Okay, so now I get what that was about. That was a while ago in the chat, sorry. You're white, Holmes, so you're far right. Am I, really? Kate McKenzie doesn't keep his promises. I don't know about that. Dr. Death has the Rona again after 6 jabs. Are you serious? You got big plans for USA rapid transport system. It's treading on Buffett's big toes. Huh. Icona says Dayton's one of the best. I don't know about that. You need to know how to get energy from wildfires, forest fires. All the smoke negates any gains in air quality made. Well, James Douglas, it's not just that. So charcoal, the making of charcoal and the use of charcoal for cooking and heating and cleaning amongst Africans is epically horrible for the environment, air quality, and leads to respiratory illnesses for over 640,000 Africans every year. Deaths from that stuff. Unbelievable. And the deforestation that occurs in Somalia, in Malawi, in the Sahel from charcoal production and consumption is just off the chart. If we would simply provide low-cost energy from nuclear or hydro, then Africans would need to rely on that stuff by and large. And we could reduce the amount of carbon output, we could reduce the poor air quality, but one of the first things we have to do is get these ass wipes, these brain-dead goons in South Africa to quit burning tires for service delivery. Do you know how many damaged road surfaces I've had to cross in the past 2 years driving in South Africa? It's annoying. And that stuff is highly polluting. Burning tires is one of the dumbest things ever. But people do it in South Africa. They burn the tires all the time. Idiots. Okay. So, right, he removed even the left indicator lights from his car. Famous brands, big UK burger deal costs shareholders millions. Bought nice sweet lemon from the lads and Nando's. Okay. Where's Jabba the Hutt gone? I have no idea, Jan. Guess right by far. Said, hey, that's a new user. I haven't seen you before. Shaka Zulu. What about Shaka Zulu? Oh, famous black folks. Yeah, no, it's famous black folks. Shaka Zulu. I keep changing the glasses. It's bright out here. Now, this looks silly on camera. I mean, it looks like I'm trying to hide something. I look like a Democrat here, don't I? I really do. Trying to hide something. But these are cool glasses because they're yellow. And so it cuts down on the glare, and so it doesn't damage my eyes. And everything looks brighter but nicer because it's yellow. Pretty cool. But I can't read the chat, so I have to keep taking them off. So I cannot see the chat. I'll put the reading glasses on. Supposed to be famous blind folks. Oh, gotcha, Diane. Okay. Well, Stevie Wonder. There's one. Famous blind folks. Helen Keller, another famous blind person. Yep. You look like the undercover agent that you are. What is with you guys? Look, I am CIA. I'm Chris in action. You don't know that? Chris in Africa. You guys know that. You haven't caught on to that by now? Chris in action, Chris in Africa. Whoa, I gotta blow that away. Sit down there. Man, the wind is really picked up out here all of a sudden. I don't want this stuff blowing around. I have to chase it down in the parking lot. There we go. That ought to keep it in place. Paying $3.89 per kilowatt hour. Ouch. Cape canola fields are in full bloom. Yeah, canola is interesting. So is rapeseed. Now, that's an unfortunate... Who named rapeseed? I mean, honestly, who would name a plant rapeseed? When I first saw rapeseed, it was in Germany. I'm like, that's beautiful. What's that? Because it was never growing in Germany when I was there in the 80s. But rapeseed is taken off. It's replaced canola oil and, of course, rather than palm oil, but rapeseed. N is here to stir crap. He says, why do Hendo and Erica take turns blocking me every time? They first block me and then respond innocently to my comments. Because your comments aren't innocent. You're race hustling and you're making false statements here. Yep. You don't look like a Democrat. You look like you need a guitar. Oh, my goodness. Okay, but look like Van Morrison, eh? Ooh, there we go. My brown-eyed girl. Look at Van Morrison, right? That's cool. Yeah, that's why you get blocked. But they'll give you a short timeout, and if you have been blocked on the channel, don't get the facts incorrect and misstated. You've not been blocked on the channel, or your comment wouldn't have come through. You have been spanked for misbehaving. So stop misbehaving. Hey, Shawnee. Now I know why you're drinking Starbucks all the time. Yes, that's right, Funk Dunk, because I'm a shareholder. Although these are manufactured not by Starbucks. This one is distributed by the North American Coffee Partnership, Purchase New York, which is part of Yum Brands, owned by PepsiCo. Purchase New York is their headquarters. But they used to say PepsiCo on here, but they changed it to the North American Coffee Partnership in 2023. That's when they renamed it. But this is manufactured by the Coca-Cola Company. I mean, the Pepsi-Cola Company, excuse me. Sorry. I must have taken the wrong Coca-Cola challenge here. Sent to the naughty step to... What's this? Naughty step to think about what he's doing. Yep, that's what Diane says. Yep, but it doesn't work. Yep, now it's funny because, as I said, when the South African men's 4x400, was the 400 relay? 4x100, it was 4x100 I think it was. They came in, they won a silver medal in that race. I didn't realize the South Africans had come in second because of what had happened there. It was amazing. And I posted on Twitter about that and congratulated for that. But N wanted to come on and lie about whether I talked about that or not. It's not my job to promote everything black, white, and brown in South Africa. It's my job to analyze events, and but I do promote things in South Africa. And I don't really, I'm not South African, and I don't have a specific tie or affinity to South Africa. I don't have bank accounts there. I don't own any property there. I don't have any border mice there. I don't own any macadamia nut plantations there. However, I did live in Botswana, and I do have a special affinity for the Tswana speakers in Botswana. And so when Botswana got a gold medal, their first ever in the men's 200, that was incredible. And I posted that and congratulated people, and I talked about it in the news. And when they got a silver medal, I did the same thing. But it's funny, N wasn't on here acting like a fool and saying, hey, how come you're not talking about black people? Aren't you celebrating black people? Because, that's what trolls do. That's what race hustlers do. They're selective in their judgment to falsely portray people in a light that's not true. It's really sad. It truly is sad that people waste their time with stuff like that. There's actual real racists out there. There's plenty of bigots in the world. And the left doesn't care about them because the chief racists and bigots that you'll find are on the left side of the political spectrum. That's where the majority of them reside. And so they have to deflect their personal shortcomings onto others. And that's really sad, but they get away with it with the collusion of social media and with the press and the legacy media. But anyway, enough of that. So there's a plane flying overhead. It's a prop job. There he is. Yeah, it's a small one. Small prop job. Looks like a Piper aircraft from here. I can't tell for sure, but it does look like a Piper. Anyway, 100% support Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, well, he's not in the race anymore, but gotcha. Yeah, Eric, ignore mode works. Anyway. So. Who will be Trump's successor in the Republican Party? Oh, that's easy. Me. That's right. When Donald Trump leaves office in 4 years, I'll be running for president. Congratulations, Miss South Africa. She's deaf and she wins Miss South Africa. Thank God I'm deaf. God, stink up. You're deaf? I had no idea. Are you using closed caption? Wow, Garrett, are you using closed caption to watch my program? If so, there must be a lot of typos in it because I've tried the closed captioning and you get a lot of typos, particularly for someone who talks fast like I do. Wow, Garrett, had no idea. Sorry, I had no idea. I mean, why would I know? We haven't met. But that must be difficult. You know, I'm with you, Garrett. Not having hearing would be sad, especially sad. I mean, you know, for those who've had it and lose it because of music and all the lovely things. Like right now, I'm listening to crickets. They're really annoying. There's a lot of them out here, and grasshoppers making a lot of noise. But the thing that's always I thought would be more difficult would be loss of sight. If you can't hear, at least you can see to get from place to place. But wow, hey Misty, how's it going? But Garrett, thanks for sharing that. It's very kind of you to share your situation. Wow. Mail ordered Sweden's ambassador to leave. Oh, Mali ordered. Okay, sorry, that's a mail. Sweden will stop giving aid to Mali due to ties to Russia. Yeah, no, it's going to be bad for Mali. They're stupid people, stupid military people. What wrong flag? Is that not the Russia flag? Is that Slovenia or something like that? Anyway, yeah, it's just really dumb. Hey, Sandy, how's it going? How's the next book coming? I'm already trying to figure out where I'll read your next book from. There's a lovely spot in the woods not too far from my home. I'll try to set up camp there and do it. I've been seen little about her. I'm impressed with her. She has a speech deficiency. Yeah, she wears a cochlear implant, if I'm not mistaken. Garrett, that was very kind of you to share your personal situation. I don't mean to inquire if I'm disturbing you. My apologies for that. It's just it's fascinating to hear. You know, we have a lot of people who've had challenges on the program. Sorry, Misty. What did Misty say? Oh, wrong flag. Okay. All right. Yeah, so Miss South Africa, that is pretty cool. But, of course, we saw that the young lady of Nigerian Mozambican descent is being attacked on social media. She's been invited to the Miss Universe Nigeria program, so we'll see if she competes up there. But that'll give the xenophobes more fire to attack. Hearing loss makes relationships with normal interactions with folks very difficult, worse than going blind. Really, Keith? Even for those who learn sign language? I mean, I don't know, Keith. I've not had to deal, or I say deal. I mean, remember in the military, so everyone's able, whatever that means, able. But everyone has all their legs and their hands and their feet and their mental capacity and their hearing and their sight. And if they don't have that, they're discharged. So I mean, that's where I spent the bulk of my adult life. I did interact with civilians, but I've only interacted with a handful of people who had hearing loss or who are deaf throughout my life. So I've had limited experience with that. I have interacted with some who are deaf as a consequence of my activities in Africa, or not deaf, blind, as a consequence of my activities in Africa. But deaf is, when someone's blind, it's much more apparent to those who don't know. You can see that someone has vision problems, obviously because of their movements, because of whether they wear certain type of glasses or carrying walking sticks, that sort of thing. So it's obvious. But someone who's hearing impaired, you may not realize it, and you're interacting with them, and you just don't know that they're hearing impaired or that they're deaf. Wow, that's yeah, life is cruel, folks, and it's a competition. And unfortunately, life isn't always as generous the way it should be to us. But I really salute to all those who have challenges like hearing and seeing impairments, and those who have physical inabilities. Erica is now having difficulty with walking still after her 2 strokes. My hat's off to all those people who seek to and rise to the challenge of overcoming those things. It's really difficult. I remember when I went to Germany the first time in 1984, I saw so many people, so we're in their 20s and 30s at that point, and older, who had these bizarre, unusual, I don't mean, this is not an insult, but very short arms. They had short arms and their limbs. And this was a consequence of a contraceptive that was given to German women back in the 50s and 60s. And it deformed these people. And what a horrific situation. They were born with these deformed limbs and went through life like that because of contraception. Women who didn't want to become pregnant, who had children. It's just a bizarre situation. That was a dangerous thing. Some of you might know what that drug was. I don't recall off the top of my head. But that was not a common, but an occasional thing I saw in the 1980s. Those people are all now in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and I've been in Germany lately, but I didn't see many of them the last time I was in Germany, but I saw a lot of those folks my first time around. Oh, you're late, Alan. Slippery Pickles here. Blue Crane, okay. It's been overwhelming and challenging to get to terms with restricted vision. Trying to follow that chat is not so easy and sometimes exhausting. Marilyn, may I share your situation? You've just mentioned that. I've not told anyone about that. May I share it? If I may share it, I will tell people what I know, if that's okay. But I seek your permission before I say that. 30,000 Botswana citizens have filled up their national stadium to welcome Olympic gold medalist Letsile Teboko back to the country. Well, I'm excited. That's awesome. My father went deaf for most one has to interact with. Getting other person to write notes was only an option. Well, learning sign language you think would be important. I learned to sign the alphabet when I was 13. Still remember it. It helped me out a few times. Very cumbersome, but the people could understand me. Well, that's awesome, Art. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Smee again. It was thalidomide. Yeah, thalidomide. Yeah, that's what it was. Yep. It was for morning sickness. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that what it was for? It wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, Marilyn says I can share the situation. Numa South, I was already raising so much awareness. That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't see her interview. All of us xenophobes are very happy for cheating women's. That's nasty, LL. Okay, Botswana gave its civil servants half-a-day holiday to welcome their heroes from the Olympics. Well, that's a good question, and what has the government of national unity done for South Africans? I don't know they should do anything, and I don't know that Botswana should do anything, but I mean, that's typical Eric, Mokwetse Eric Masisi, stingy little bastard that he is, a half a day on a Friday. Hey, here's a newsflash. Botswana civil servants don't work afternoon on Fridays. Try going to a government ministry. Try getting a service performed on a Friday in Gaborone. It doesn't work almost anywhere because they're gone. Whether they're authorized to be gone or not, they're just not there. Friday, and it's the same thing in the diplomatic community. I try to get things done in Botswana and on a Friday. Forget it, unless it's a reliable Western country or a close friend in Africa that you guarantee you meet up and have a conversation or take care of business. But not getting any work done on a Friday. So I don't think the government of South Africa should be doing anything for athletes. That's ridiculous. The public should do something. Private citizens should support their athletes, not the government. It's not the role of government to support them. It's ridiculous. But it's awesome to see 30,000 people show up there for Teboko. That's incredible. That was an incredible race. Well deserved. That 200 was unbelievable. And seeing the men's relay team get that other medal, they're not relay team, the other one. But Botswana was just incredible. No African government official works on a Friday. Exactly. Maybe Botswana hold an Olympic gold medal party in Marxist, and maybe we'll be serving champagne. I don't know about that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, when I saw Marilyn and Lindsay, I went and stayed at their home my last trip. I was given some rather distressing news from Marilyn. She suddenly had macular degeneration, and she was told about it from the doctors, and in just a matter of a few months, she lost 90% of her vision in one eye, and she's losing the other eye, and this is heartbreaking for me. It really is. I'm not just saying that. These are wonderful people, and she's an amazing person, and so Marilyn struggles with the chat, typing. It's amazing she's able to type anything at this point, and we did run into a physician who might be able to do something with stem cells, if I remember correctly, but not going to hold hope out that that's going to help. But Marilyn is losing her vision, and it is unfortunate and sad, and it's really bummed out. This is a truly lovely lady, and her husband's a dear person, and just kind of breaks my heart. Nothing I can do for them, nothing we can do about it. It's people don't know that. I didn't share that. It wasn't mine to share. Marilyn just gave me permission to share. It's too much for her to type that. So yeah, it's thoughts and prayers for Marilyn, folks. If you believe in the power of prayer, some people do. Then please have a prayer for Marilyn, and for her eyesight. Sorry, a little choked up there. Got to pause for a second. Whew, boy. Trump and Elon Musk, insightful. What do you think of EU warning them? I see that Sandy came into the conversation late. I read a whole article that I put together earlier, reading quotes from all these people. The EU, the douchebag, fascist, totalitarian commissar Thierry can go shove it. The European Union has no sovereignty over the United States. This is clear election interference by foreign actors in the U.S. election. He can go shove it. This is a private company on a private server in a conversation that they don't have to listen to if they don't like it. And to make a threat claiming that Trump is spreading disinformation when he hasn't even spoken, it just shows you how desperate they are to stop Donald Trump, because they're losers. They're losers. Losers. Why don't I have the spot? Oh, that's what it is. Okay. The only person who got it worked on a Friday was Robinson Crusoe. I worked every Friday. LL says the athletes in South Africa were met by Gate, McKenzie, and South Africans at the airport. Is there fluorinated water in South Africa? How widespread is cell phone use? How prevalent is fast food? James, are those real questions? Don't think the water is fluorinated anywhere in South Africa. Cell phone use is ubiquitous. It's universal. Fast food is everywhere. Whether it's Chicken Lickin' or it's McDonald's or it's Wimpy. Take your pick. Fast food is everywhere in South Africa. Can't laugh the way some commentators pronounce Teboho's name, same way as you pronounce pogo stick. Well, yeah, but I pronounce it correctly. It's Teboho. Yeah, so, well, that's because they don't know better. They don't speak Tswana. Hey, Kim Tswana. Kim Tswana. Yep. Listen to the 69-minute interview. Nothing new discussed, but great reach. Who? For Trump? I didn't catch it. I couldn't get in. It was all obstructed. Those can all be disabilities. I know it's the same. White House briefing journalist goading press secretary whether something ought to be done. Yeah, I talked about that, Sandy. Ursula von der Leyen irritates me. Yeah, she's a very annoying lightweight politician and a fascist. But you have deride lines to work. No, it's okay, Sandy, but you can go back to the beginning. I mean, I reread it right now, but actually I probably should reread it now and go through it faster because there are a lot of people who tuned in late. So I'll go through that in a moment. And Smee says I pronounce it personally. Thank you. Let's set to Boho. Thank you for that. Okay, we're all here. Okay, so we're all here now. 105 people, 78 likes. How about y'all fix that? All right, so let me read this. I'm going to read the whole thing again, and for emphasis, and I'll read you my commentary. It won't have the exact same comments because a lot of them were off the cuff, extemporaneous as I went on. But let me just read what I put together earlier. So here we go. This is my commentary. So, well, that's not it. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Where's it at? There it is. There it is. That's where I put it. So, all right. So this is what I put together about Elon Musk last night. Yep, that's it. Actually had it there. Wrong spot. Okay, so I find it funny when Zimbabweans are asking us to condemn their regime, but when the USA interfered, they cried foul. Well, left Vladimir Putin. Yeah, exactly. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is what I had to say about Elon Musk and Donald Trump last night. The political left all over the world seem to have gotten their titties in a twist. If you don't know that phrase, it's an American phrase. Get your titties in a twist. Turn those nipples because it hurts. Get your titties in a twist over Donald Trump's appearance with Elon Musk on Twitter long before Trump even uttered a word. Their Trump derangement syndrome appears to be reaching fever pitch. The Washington Post reporter Cleve Wootson issued an Orwellian call for censorship during Monday's press briefing with the chief propagandist for the Biden regime, Karine Jean-Pierre. This is what Cleve Wootson had to say. Elon Musk is slated to interview Trump tonight on X. I don't know if the president is going to feel free to say if he is or is not, but I think that misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue, it's a, America issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that or stopping the spread of that and sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation, but it's a wider thing, right? Now, of course, the chief propagandist of the White House regime, Karine Jean-Pierre, eagerly jumped in with this, the so-called reporter's Orwellian fascist inquiry. And she said, you've heard us talk about this many times from here about the responsibilities that social media platforms have when it comes to misinformation and disinformation. I don't have anything to read out from here about specific ways that we're working on it, but we believe that they have the responsibility. These are private companies, so we're also mindful of that too. But look, I think it is incredibly important to call that out as you're doing. Really, it's the role of a reporter from the Washington Post to call for censorship of a private citizen, a presidential candidate, claiming that he's spread misinformation when you can't define misinformation before he's even spoken. That's the role of a journalist. Now, Karine Jean-Pierre, of course, is just another propagandist. So let me continue. She said, I just don't have any specifics on what we've been doing internally as it relates to the interviews. Not something that I'm tracking, and I'm sure the president's not tracking it either, which means they're exactly tracking it. That's exactly what they're up to. Now, this is what the European Union censorship czar said in an attempt to silence Donald Trump. Now, I said European Union, not U.S. Congress, not the Federal Communications Commission, not the press ombudsman, nothing like that. This is the European Union censorship czar. Now, fascist douchebag European Commissar Thierry Breton sent a threatening letter to Musk this week demanding he censor any so-called misinformation that would come up during the Trump interview. So this was a preemptory letter to Twitter. And it says, this is a threat, listen to this. I'll do it in a French accent. Let's use a French accent. We are monitoring the potential risk in the EU associated with the dissemination of content that may incite violence, hate, and racism in conjunction with major political or societal events around the world, including the debates. That sounds more like a Jewish physician from Eastern Europe than a Frenchman. Bonjour. Or including debates and interviews in the context of elections. There you go, elections. Now, what the fuck does the European Union have to do with U.S. elections? We have not surrendered any degree of our sovereignty in the United States to your douchebag cafe clutch in Brussels. So the Thierry Breton continues. I therefore urge you to promptly ensure the effectiveness of your systems and to report the measures taken to my team. He continued saying, my services and I will be extremely vigilant to any evidence that points to the breaches of the DSA and will not hesitate to make full use of our toolbox, including by adopting interim measures should it be warranted to protect EU citizens from serious harm. And my response to Thierry Breton is, I fought in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. Be gone, you silly Frenchman. Or silly Englishman. Got that backwards. He was the Frenchie in the fort, not the Englishman. Who are you? I am Arthur of the Britons. What do you want? We seek the Grail. Piss off, silly Englishman. Oh, dear God. I fought in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. Thierry Breton, this is the response from X. So, Thierry Breton, this is what I have to say to you. Your mother was a Great Dane and your father... No, I got that backwards. I screwed up. Thierry Breton, this is what I have to say to you. Your father was a Great Dane. Your mother was a beach. We are the Knights of Ni, and we want a shrubbery. Oh, dear God. Oh, the European Union. Censorship czar and fascist dictator, totalitarian political commissar, Thierry Breton. This guy is threatening action against an American company for an American political candidate running for president of the United States in America. He's not in French soil. This is just like the Metropolitan Police in the United Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, we go live now to the press conference with the Met in London at New Scotland Yard. What's in here, mate? If you spread misinformation on Twitter, we will come after you. We will come after you. Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So Britain is gone. UK is gone. France is gone. Germany is gone. Loving Life spoke very badly of his mother. Backfired him. Spoke badly of whose mother? The Knights of Ni. 1984 coming to country near you. Yep, Maryland, it's here. It is here. Allo. Watch Allo, Allo. That's that one's okay. Caught two butternut mating this morning. They laughed and wobbled away. Okay, not sure what that's about. Yep. Maintenant, je dois dire quelque chose pour l'homme Thierry Breton qui travaille avec l'Union européenne. Je n'ai pas du tout votre opinion de notre élection des États-Unis. Et il faut dire fuck off. Yeah, oui. Thierry Breton, si ça c'est pas clair pour vous, je dis en anglais, fuck off. Et ça c'est pas clair avec l'anglais, Je dis en afrikaans. Fuck off. Are we low on likes? We're 91. 91. Does your dog bite? Pink Panther. Does your dog bite? Your dog bite? Oh, now that's a French accent. I should have got that better. I'm Inspector Clouseau. Oh, we've gone very crazy with the French. Yes. We like the shrubbery. We do. We do. Just like the Englishman. Just like the Englishman. We like the shrubbery. I have a big shrubbery behind me, huh? This is my shrubbery. Yes. And the Germans are gone too. Ja. Und für Olaf Scholz, ich muss dir etwas Bescheid sagen. Ja, ich habe schon die Nase voll gehabt von ihrer politischen Partei. Wir wollen nur Freiheit, Recht, Einigkeit. Ja, die Deutschen wollen Freiheit, nicht ihrer Faschismus. We thumb our nose here. Swiss Franco banking. Beautiful old tree by it is me. You guys want to see the creek? Do you want to see the creek? Should I show you the creek? Should I show you the creek? Okay, Smee again wants it. Can I get some more? If you guys want to see it, there's 100 people here. I don't want to waste your time. Smee wants it. Okay, there's more people. Okay, let me see if I can't get up and show you the creek. Can I turn the camera around? There we go. Okay, there you go. Here's the creek. It's a really small one because it's channeled through here. It's channeled through this part of the base. There you go. There's actually fish in there. But that's the creek. Now, it's free flowing in town, but when it comes to the base, because they don't want erosion, they've channeled it like this. It's a beautiful little creek. It's called Yellow Breeches. It's world-class fly fishing, not here on the base, but you get world-class fly fishing on other parts. As it goes over near my house, about 15 kilometers away, fantastic place for fly fishing. Pretty cool. So that is Yellow Breeches Creek, and here's that tree you're all enamored with. Get that bad boy. It's huge. Huge. Big canopy of that tree. Who knows how old that thing is. But look at the leaves on it. These are big, big leaves. Here, let me show you how big the leaves are. Look at this. There's my hand. Look at that. It's bigger than my hand. The leaf is bigger than my hand. Those are massive, massive leaves. Anyway, that's Yellow Breeches Creek running through Carlisle Barracks. So let me walk back up here to the table. Sorry for the bounciness. There we go. Now we're back. Now we're back. All right. Let's see if I missed any chat. Oh, it's beautiful, Smee. Yeah. Fly fishing with hand grenades. Not quite. Not quite. Tim is worse. A bit of history as a school teacher drawing boys in the very special kind. Ooh, I don't know about that, Keith. Life of Brian. Yeah, that'd be great. Für das deutsche Vaterland. Yep, show us the crack. Creek, not crack. Creek away. Okay. There you go. What do you think? Will the red states be educating their children with Trumpism? Grave quote in Xi Jinping tonight. I have no idea what you're talking about, and I have no idea what Trumpism is. I know what freedom and liberty are. I know what the Constitution says. I know what the Declaration of Independence says. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, do ordain and establish. This is for our posterity. Anyway, that's the Constitution. And of course, when in the course of human events, we find these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. Chief among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When it comes time for people to disassociate the bands that have tied them together, I'm butchering it now, but that's what I know. I don't know what Trumpism is. I know what patriotism is. I know what the Constitution is. I know what the freest, most prosperous, most generous, and best country in the history of humankind to date has been, despite its many, many flaws, is this country, the United States. A country that's being undermined within by political fascists who are silencing speech, silencing freedom of assembly, attacking Christians at the expense of America's societal bonds, and undermining our cultural norms by spreading bilingualism, which is unnecessary and ridiculous. There are over 70 million Americans who speak a second language, over 45 million of whom speak it fluently. and we have scumbags promoting Spanish at the expense of other languages. I made this point when I returned from a trip to Africa, working when I was at the National Security Agency, or was it Europe, back in about the year 2003, when I landed at the Baltimore Washington International Airport, and I got off the plane. I had to go to the bathroom. I rushed to the bathroom, and I could not go into the bathroom because they were repairing it or something. And there was a sign on it. They'd taken the words off, and they put a sign up in Spanish and covered up and said, "Baños." Baños. What the hell is a baños? Is that like a taco? What the hell a baños is? What's a toilet? I don't speak Spanish. I speak 6 languages. Why are you forcing me at an airport in America, in a state where less than 2% of the population speaks Spanish, to read a sign in Spanish? That is horse manure. Now, let's put this in context. At the time that I saw this sign, less than 2% of the state of Maryland spoke any degree of Spanish. Now, that number has increased dramatically because of criminal alien invasion of America. But let me also point out that at that time, a larger number of Maryland residents spoke Russian and or Ukrainian than spoke Spanish. And many of them fluently because they grew up in Russia or the Ukraine, or their grandparents and then their parents came over the course of the 20th century. So why weren't the signs in Russian and Ukrainian? In Iowa, more people speak German than speak Spanish, yet there's signs in Spanish, not in German. In Pennsylvania, more people speak German than speak Spanish, yet we don't have signs in German. Why is that? It's an effort to destroy the country. The border states such as California, Texas, New Mexico is normal to also have Spanish. Yes, it is. What's your point? I'm not in Texas. I'm not in. When I go to San Antonio or I go to Miami or San Diego, I do expect to hear people speak Spanish. That's culturally the norm. That's how it's been for centuries. There's nothing wrong with that. And if people want to be bilingual in those places, great. But forcing me to speak Spanish in Baltimore, Washington International Airport or in Harrisburg is bullshit. That's bullshit. What did I miss? Did you say something else I commented that I missed? Let me see. Rerun, drop an anchor. Huh? What's James saying? Liaisons for your monkey. For your monkey. My monkey. My monkey is unhappy. Unhappy. My monkey. Anyway. Well, maybe we should call Trump Emperor, call Czar. I don't know. Why did you say that? See, this is what's so funny about this. Barack Obama violated federal law and the Constitution with imposing executive orders. But he's not alone. Trump did it. Clinton did it. No, not Trump did it. Excuse me. Bush did it, not Trump. Bush did it. Clinton did it. The one president in the past 40 years who's actually obeyed the courts has been Donald John Trump. When leftists tried to shut down his border construction at the wall, he didn't stop and go, oh, look, I'll just find another program to fund this. He didn't violate the Sixth Circuit, or Ninth Circuit, whatever, those lunatics in California, Ninth Circuit, I think it is. When they stopped the construction of the border wall, it stopped. Full stop. The Trump administration adhered to the court's ruling until it was appealed, and then the Trump administration won, and then they reconvened. When Congress refused to appropriate money for Trump, he did turn to the defense budget, but the border is national security. That's what the defense budget is for, national security. So the president has the discretion to reallocate funds that have been allocated by Congress for national security. That's available. The left tried to portray that as he was out of control and didn't follow the rule of law, but in fact, he did follow the rule of law. It's Biden who is told by the Supreme Court that he cannot forgive debt for college students. And what does he do? He finds another way around it, also in violation of law. But by the time that he's shut down by the courts, billions and billions of dollars of money out of my pocket and your pocket has been given to people. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So you say that, Icono, but Trump is the one president who has not acted in imperial fashion. He's the one president who has not been dictatorial. He's the one president who has followed the rule of law. And now this sounds like a defense of Trump. No, it's a defense of the truth. Now that doesn't mean every one of his executive orders were legitimate. No, but by a wide measure, he did more legitimate than anyone else. What is your deal? See, Akana, you're doing this again. Are you just trolling now? That's 2 days in a row you've pulled this, or 3 days. You're talking about Trump being a dictator. That's just a fairy tale. That's just a lie. Why can't you tell the truth? Give me an example. See, this is what happened with trolls and leftists and people who just have opinions formed based on what the media tells them. Give me an example of something Donald Trump did that was in violation of the law when he was president. Give me an example of something he did in violation of a court's order. Give me an example of something that you say made him a dictator. I think the ship is sinking. Address the immediate needs and keep going forward. What other choices? Their finger is on the kill switch. What are you going to do? Run? Well, you can't run very far. They have nuclear weapons. They can take you out with a drone. Exactly, Funk Donkeys, echoing the leftist media. Exactly right. But I give you a chance here, like I give others a chance to actually give us a reason. Tell us. I'm banging on the table, my knees. Give us a reason why that's true. You can't. You can't. And maybe you need a few moments to think of one, so I'll give you a few moments to think of one. I hear you guys. I'm joking. I saw on Oliver Stone's commentary that Putin was called that to his face on a TV debate. Oh, okay, Connor. It's fine. You can joke, man. But I mean, it's, the problem with text responses in chat is that there's only a few characters and it gets taken out of context. And maybe I took it out of context. Yeah, no, it's, again, I challenge anybody. See, that's the thing. If the Trump campaign would focus on policy, if they would point out the glaring differences, I mean, Kamala Harris claims that she's going to hire border agents. Really? Now she's going to hire border agents after they've let 20 or 30 million criminal alien invaders in our country and dumped them in our neighborhoods? I mean, I'm going through my local grocery store and people are wearing, what the hell is this, Central Pennsylvania? Not Riyadh. What is that? Because those people were dumped here in our midst. They moved here illegally. I'm on Rumble, Grasshopper. Why do people ask me? None of you go there. I'm on Rumble. Hendo, are you here? Can you share my Rumble link? I mean, people do this periodically. Well, why are you going to go to Rumble? What are you going to do this? I'm on Rumble, but nobody's there. The only people who do well on Rumble are people who are already famous. Dan Bongino, Dinesh D'Souza, Salty Cracker. Those people were famous, and that's why they do well on Rumble. But even they have much smaller audiences on Rumble than they have on YouTube. I'm not thrilled with the platform here, but it's what's there. It's the best one out there. No one has topped it yet. Odyssey doesn't do it. Subscribestar doesn't do it. Twitter doesn't do it. Truth Social doesn't do it. Facebook doesn't do it. And Rumble doesn't do it. That's right. In 3.5 years, she couldn't do anything for the border. I mean, the border is open for a reason. There is the strongest country in the world. They're doing it because the cost of immigrants' labor is so much lower. That's part of the reason, Icona. You're correct. You're correct. And Michelle Malcolm covered this in her book about immigration and how corporations and the government benefit from it. You're 100% correct. That's true. And it's Americans who suffer from identity theft, Americans whose wages are depressed by illegal workers who are working off the books. It's Americans whose homes are built by criminal alien invaders who are not qualified plumbers, electricians, masons, bricklayers, and carpenters whose homes fall apart and burn up prematurely. Hey, Ron from Bloemfontein. Yep, that's right. It's me again. ScrewTube is cocked, but unfortunately, that's where it all happens. Yep. So look, I'm with you. Was it Grasshopper? But you need to go to Rumble. I'm there. I'm on Rumble. I'm on Odyssey. I'm on Subscribestar. I don't put much on Subscribe, but I'm on all these platforms. I am now on Kick as well, and I had 19 subscribers last time. Tonight I'll probably do a Kick broadcast because I'm refreshed and rejuvenated and back in business. So I took care of some things I had to take care of this week. All right, I've got to go, folks. This was my lunch hour and a few minutes past that, so got to go make that up. Thanks a lot for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. We got 103, and the world's just crazy. I mean, the left lost their mind, attacking Donald Trump for spreading disinformation when he hadn't even spoken. They attacked Donald Trump for going on Twitter when the invitation was extended to Kamala Harris, who didn't accept it. She's welcome to go on Twitter with Elon Musk, but she's not going to accept that, but she'll attack Trump for doing it. Thierry Breton, the Frenchman, thought in your general direction, you silly Frenchman. Yep, don't accept wooden nickels. Thank you, RJ. I got to mention that. Don't accept wooden nickels. I have wooden nickels somebody gave me. And actually, I've got to put that on air sometime soon. I keep forgetting to do that. Thanks, everybody. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you later on, maybe on Kick tonight. And on Kick, if you go to Kick, it's Red Storm Rising. And there's the link right there. Thanks a lot, Hendo. If you've got the Rumble one, put it in there as well, Hendo. Thanks a lot, everybody. God bless. Be careful out there. Cheers.